Let's talk about church, everyone's favorite topic. Or is it? I'm not really sure. I know each of us have different thoughts about church, the role it plays in our lives, what's it for, why do we go, why do we have to go, and those are some of the topics I want to talk about today on this episode of Taking Your Dominion, the mostly weekly discussion about on earth as it is in heaven. So yeah, church. This is actually going to be part one, but I want to start with this. The church is more and more like a football game where, from the stands, a crowd observes a small number of players who offer a great show. Those that put forth an effort on the field urgently need rest, whereas the spectators desperately need to exercise. This image illustrates the reality of the church. Is that your experience with church? It's certainly my experience with church sometimes. It's not always like that, but it is kind of like that. There's the same people doing all the work up on stage or behind the scenes. And a lot of people come in each Sunday, watch, and then go home. What are some of the challenges with that? Well, there are several. Offer a great show. Is that really what church is for? Isn't it so that we can get to know God more? We can learn more about God. We can learn how to live a better life on this planet that He designed. We can learn more about His Word, hopefully from someone who knows more than we do about it. But then we go home and check it out and make sure that it's accurate and authentic. I mean, that's part of what church should be about, right? Crowd. Bunch of people show up. This should be family, community, should be the people that we do life with, both inside church and outside of church. Not every part of life, of course, but certainly some parts of it. Observing, and then those that put forth effort. That is often how it is. We come in, we sit, we watch, we sing, we give, we go home. The people putting forth a lot of effort are really, really tired. And us out in the stands kind of need some exercise. Might want to get out on the field, might want to get involved. I'll actually talk about that in the next video. Quick interruption to remind you to hit the subscribe button and the like button. Also remember to check out my online course, Finding Your Dominion. It'll help take you deeper into your identity and your purpose, what God intended when He made you. Also be sure to check the first comment below. It has a number of questions to help you dig deeper into this week's Taking Your Dominion vlog. So I hope you'll use that as a study guide and help you dig deeper and find out what all this means for you personally. Thanks. Now back to the video. What I want to suggest in this video is that the problem with this analogy is actually the stadium. So think about most stadiums. They're gated. You have to have a ticket to get in. And then also the stadium is faced inward. The game and the action takes place on the field, and all the audience is surrounding the field, looking down on the field. But that's not what church is about. That's certainly not what Christendom is about, following God, spreading His kingdom on earth as it is in heaven. No, to do that, we've got to get out of the stadium. Part of the challenge with the stadium is that it creates an us versus them mentality. We're in the stadium and everyone else is not in the stadium. How can any good come from that in terms of an effect on the world? Well, it can't. So a better analogy for what church should be, if we're going to continue the sports metaphor, would be that the church should be the locker room and maybe the practice field where we get some practical, tangible, tactical instruction. And then we work out and we exercise and we learn and we grow from mentors and teachers and coaches. And then we go out into the real world, the actual playing field, which isn't the practice field. It's out in the world. And so I ask you, when you think about church, do you think of it as a place that you go to, where you consume, or you watch, and then you go home? Or a place where you go and you do a lot for a lot of other people, and then you go home? Or, as I'm suggesting, is it a place where you go to get refreshed and recharged and taught and pumped up and encouraged to then go out in the world to actually exercise or do the things you learned about? Because the church is actually the body of believers infiltrating all the rest of humanity that aren't believers yet. And we have really good news.